Congratulations, COSM. We got two of our upside targets met today. Let's go ahead and review the potentials for tomorrow's session. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with a COSM technicals, raw price action, and statistical threat of analysis on this Thursday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community and Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and open this up on the 8-hour chart. And please go ahead and notice right over here that this is the 8-hour shorter time frame falling wedge that we were looking at, right? So we kind of paired this little formation here with a volatility versus momentum profile backtest, right? So this is volatility here represented by the indicator BBWP, and this is stochastic momentum, which is what we pair volatility with in order for us to gain a bias for direction, right? So we did get a pretty nice back test here. So total 9 iterations throughout the entire trading history of the 8-hour chart, right? 6 were guessed correctly to the upside, and that gave us an average upside thrust of 206% to the upside with a 66% accuracy anytime that condition or criteria has met. Okay, so I do have other upside targets based on the first standard deviation and also the based on a standard deviation and the first standard deviation higher end. Okay, so the lower end, we can't use it because it is a negative value, so it's unusable, right? So let's go ahead and just kind of look at what happened here, right? Because I'm sure there's a lot of questions regarding why we were making such a, powerful move to the upside and retrace from it. Well, it's actually pretty normal that it did do that. And the reason why is because there's a psychological component here. This is a falling wedge, right? So we take a trend line from the top side of the triangle all the way to the lower end of the triangle, right? We apply it to the supposed area of breakout, which is right where we had guessed, right, the previous day before it broke out, which was around here. Right, we started breaking out. This is the official candle breaking outside of the resistance, which is now a support. Right, we moved onwards. We came back and tested that support and then moved to the upside. The price objective was located right at about the 2.618 at 407, which is usually where the trade likes to take targets to, or the price to, right? So the 2.618 or the 2.618 is what I'm referring to, right? The 618 is a golden mean. It's a golden ratio, right? So very important for us to take things to that price level. And as you can see here, the price objective was set to 407, right? But we reached a top side of 404. I do explain this to my master students and also even occasionally here on dedicated videos that usually the take profit zones would be just shy of the actual target in order to make sure that you can get your gain, right? So this was a very important target for us to kind of keep an eye on before a retracement, right? So now what could happen though? Well, what is the deal now? Well, we have to take it as is. Okay, we have to see what's the signals that are now present based on the current price action, right? So first of all, this is a huge shooting star, right? So usually, well, I mean, the thing is that I would really like this shooting star to have formed upside of this candle here. So, but usually when you have an 8-hour minimum print of a candle like this, it usually does suggest a downside, right? And it would be for finding a relevant support before we can find a continuation to the upside, right? So let's go ahead and try to see if we can validate that thesis, right? So first of all, we spoke about yesterday, we spoke about the importance of closing this 5-day candle, right? So this candle here, the iteration closed, but we're going to see the effects of on momentum of what this closure did tomorrow, right? So upon the opening of the market session. So we'll keep an eye on that. This is the larger time frame. Falling wedge here, okay, you guys, and this is what I meant by two of the targets, right? So first of all, we can take a trend line from the area of breakout, right? So which would be right about here, from the top side to the lower end, and we apply it to the supposed area of breakout, which is what we did, right? Just a few days ago, we put it right here, and you can see that we got the upside target met from the area of breakout, right? Now, the second target was taking the trend line from the center of the formation here, and then applying it to that supposed area of breakout, which is what we applied before all this happened, right? And we got that touch to the upside as well. The next thing to kind of keep in consideration here is that we may not be quite ready to break out of the Gaussian channel, which is this red band over here with a mean band in the between, right? So there's a high likelihood here that we can actually come back to around just based on this 8-hour iteration here to around 345 before a continuation to the upside. Okay, so now this kind of gives us that potential too. I'm not saying that 345 could be the bottom, but we're going to continue validating it, right? But raw price action is already suggesting that too, and the Gaussian channel is already suggesting that potential as well. Okay, so let's see. Let's continue on here and see where the 345 is located. Okay, very interesting that you can see back here the 1.272 located at 346 could be an area for a bounce for us to use before a continuation to the upside. But please remember that that's very close to us already. So there is a high probability that we can even wick down a little bit lower to the SMA 50 and the SMA 10 located at about 336. Okay, so that would now give us a support range, right? So around 336 to 346 at the 1.272, right? That could be an area for us to look at before a bounce and a continuation to the upside. Let's continue validating though, okay? I want us to take a look at the RSI now. Okay, so 30-minute immediate short-term time frame already suggesting what we're talking about, right? Downside on that 30-minute, and please notice here, actually, let me go slightly lesser in time, right? So, okay, so the buy hourly is already looking like it's at support, right? This can actually fail just a little bit like this, or even like this before a continuation upward, right? The reason why I'm saying this is because we just saw the 4-hour approaching that support from the 14-day simple moving average, right? So the 14-day simple moving average represented by this pink line, the RSI signal represented by the purple line, right? So very likely for us to come back down to that area, use it as support before a continuation onto the upside, okay? So that can, if this pressure is lower than the 14-day simple moving average, the 4-hour RSI is what I'm speaking of, right? If you're curious to know what time frame I'm in, you can see up here. Okay, when it's blue, that's where I am. So 4-hour time frame, you can see I switch over to this screen here. It says 30-minute. Switch over to this one, 4 hours. Switch over to this one, 8-hour. Right. So yeah, just for your convenience. Right. So yeah, if we actually further capitulate before a bounce to the upside, then that can pressure the 8-hour a little bit lower. But the good thing is that the 8-hour has an upside pivot on that 14-day simple moving average, and it would be, in a sense, by the end of the session tomorrow, land right at about the gravitational zone of the bull weakness percentile, which would essentially serve as a second area of support for the RSI signal. So it would be the gravitational zone, just about 2% below this border here, and the 14-day simple moving average bounce to the upside and continue, thus fulfilling the suggestion of the daily RSI with an upside pivot and validating the bi-daily and also the 5-day. Please remember that the 5-day just closed today, so we're gonna see what it has done, right? So in comparison to yesterday's RSI analysis, it looks like it did move up just a little bit, right? But upon the opening of the market tomorrow, we'll likely see how what momentum has done since that closure, right? So everything is still looking pretty good. Again, please remember that I'm talking about an immediate short-term retracement, potentially back down to the space of about 336 to about 347, right? Any of this can be invalidated, guys. Please remember that oftentimes things can capitulate even further just as a flash wick to the downside before recovery. Right, so yeah, just know that, guys. I actually still have about 1 seat left available in the ArcMasters trading course. I'm telling you this because this is the last time I'm going to be teaching this. The first week already started last Sunday, but that was just the introductory week, and this coming Sunday would be the official start of the system building, which would be starting with candle analysis, right, you guys? So definitely find the email in the description below, and I'll go ahead and give you the price point and all that good stuff, disclaimer, the syllabus, and everything everything, and we'll get you enrolled, right? But please remember that I'm not gonna do this after this session. I'll probably return to teaching after a year or two. But yeah, later on down the road, right, you guys? But please remember, first and foremost, that I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy or sell any assets whatsoever. I need you to do your own DD, your own due diligence, and everything will be cool. All right, you guys, but with that said, I wish you well a very, very good night, and I will catch you at the bell. Mañana. Adios.